Morning, folks. It is October 14th, 2025. It's time to wake up, Wilmington. We'll be right back, folks. Hey, folks, today you're just getting the Rick Cube today. Yeah. Rick and Rick. Joe is still not feeling too hot from what I understand was all of his pizza the other night. So he
my pizza.
Oh, he ate Rick's pizza. Okay, so Joe's not here today, so you just got Rick and Rick for the next 2 hours. Hopefully we can keep you entertained and give you some info what's coming up and all that other good stuff throughout Wilmington, Clinton County, high school football, the Murphy Report.
I've never sat in this chair.
Oh,
This is the big guy's chair.
That's big guy's chair, yep. The big guy's chair, that's for sure.
We have resolved the software problem, it appears.
Nice.
Kevin, what's the...
Y2H2P?
Yeah, Y2H2P. Is there significance to that, or I don't know. But anyway, good Tuesday morning to you, Kevin. And, well, we do have plenty of information and plenty of things that are going on, and we're going to give you more information about some of the changes that we're in the process of making. I've got a meeting today at noon to talk with some potential hosts.
Okay.
And also to help, the same people will be lining up people that will come on. So we'll get into that more. But what is pressing on Rick 2's mind? Or maybe I'm Rick 2. You're Rick 1.
No, you're Rick 1. You're the head honcho, man. I'm always Rick 2.
So in other words, if anyone wants to have any complaints, they have to direct them to me, right?
Yeah. The head honcho, the big bucks, big cheese.
Oh, yeah, big bucks.
The buck stops here.
Yeah.
No, nothing. I mean, we went down to the river this weekend and caught the...
I saw some posts that you made.
Yeah, it was quite interesting to see all those steamboats down there. The furthest one came from St. Paul, Minneapolis. Right. Took them 10 days to get down here from...
came down the Mississippi and up the Ohio.
Uh-huh. And then the Natchez came out of New Orleans. It took her 8 days to get up here.
Right.
So, yeah, we did the dinner cruise Sunday night and got caught and was in the parade of boats, fireworks and the whole bit. So it was a very interesting, very relaxing evening on the river. It was a little bit of a challenge getting down there because... for those of you who aren't familiar with the Serpentine Wall and the Sawyer Point Park and all that down there, they've got a ramp they built off to the left of it, and it's like a 3-level ramp, but the last part of it is probably a good 200 feet down. So they're
Is it steep?
It's not too bad coming down. So their volunteers held on to the back of the chair and got us down there and got us on the boat and everything, but then coming up was the challenge. It took 2 of them to push me up that hill.
Getting back,
with me trying to roll up and get up there. But it's a beautiful evening. It's a beautiful weekend for that.
So I'd heard what they was this. Did this just start back up? Was there some new funding that was infused into this?
I think so. I know
to make this happen.
The last tall stacks was in 2006.
Right.
It was supposed to be again in 2009, but the funding all fell through.
Right.
So they just called this the mini stacks. So whether there's going to be funding for it for the next 3 years, and hopefully it comes back in a couple years, we'll see. But it was enjoyable to see all the people down there just taking pictures and
Well,
all the
people buy
boats.
tickets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you would hope that whatever is being generated by the ticket sales will help keep it funded.
Yes.
I don't know how expensive it is to
Well,
run a steamboat.
right. I mean, our dinner was $95 a person,
Oh, wow.
2.5 hours or a little over 2 hours on the river.
Right.
But you had a breakfast cruise, you had a sightseeing cruise, you had a lunch cruise, a supper cruise, and then a couple of the boats did a late night cruise where they didn't get in till 11:30 or so.
Sounds neat.
So it was a fantastic weekend, and they all left for home yesterday.
Well, the river's a neat place to be. I know that there was a nightclub that used to be on a barge on the river, and that's not Hooters that I'm talking about.
No, I
it
mean-
was further down that there have been many barges that have had nightclubs on.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that the restaurant downstairs, and it still may be there, was a Jeff Ruby restaurant. And then upstairs, I can remember when I was younger and hitting the clubs, there was a
Right.
really incredible nightclub upstairs with you were gambling and all kinds of stuff. Not really gambling,
Right,
obviously,
right.
but they had various tables and stuff like that to simulate, I guess you could say, gambling.
Yeah,
But dancing and all that.
I remember Mike Finks.
Right.
They were there, and
Yeah.
then I forget the name of the one that the one on the river there. Was it Covington that broke and got loose?
Oh, when they had some of the flooding.
Yeah, and well, this was actually during the evening. They had folks on it, and something happened, and it busted.
Oh wow.
But yeah, the last big flood they had down there, I can't think of the name of that restaurant now to save my soul because we've been on it a few times. That's where B&B riverboats used to board all their boats and everything up.
And I've been on a B&B riverboat cruise. And that
Okay.
was kind of nice going. You could go towards Pittsburgh.
Yeah, head up towards
I guess that's
275
up the river. Not
up the
down.
river. Yeah, the river towards.
But and of course I used to live. I had an apartment in Mount Adams.
Oh, okay. So you're overlooking the
I
river.
was overlooking the Serpentine Wall.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and this, what is it? They had volleyball and skating and all kinds.
Oh
of
yeah,
stuff that
the
they
Sawyer Point Park area. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They still have the tennis courts are still there, but now of course it's been bombarded by pickleball courts.
did. Hey, nothing wrong with pickleball.
No, they've still got some of the. They got a dog park down there now. So it's an interesting place just to hang out and look around.
I think most of the time, when I lived actually there in Mount Adams, I always thought that the Kentucky side of the river was probably better developed as far as the money that they put into it.
Right.
And there were more things to do. Of course, you had the stadiums on this side, which is a big source of entertainment for people.
Yes.
But anyway, and of course you've got Montgomery Inn. You've
Oh
got
yeah, the boathouse. Yes.
To be right there, and I've been to the boathouse more than a few times.
Yeah.
And that was always fun to and I think I was at the Hooters that no longer exists.
That was taken
I
up
think
the
I was
looking
there
and
once, maybe twice, and that was when my kids were little. I think we went over there and we ate. But frequently living on the river, you sort of tend to be involved in all the activities
Right.
that go on there, and great for Mount Adams because, of course, Mount Adams being up at the top of the hill, and my apartment overlooked my balcony overlooked the river, and you'd hear the river,
Right.
the noise from the river,
all the
and that.
traffic and everything.
But it was great, like the EBN fireworks.
Oh yeah, you didn't have to move.
I'd sit up there, my favorite bar, and we'd sit out on the balcony, the patio. They have these bars with immense patios, and watch the fireworks.
Fireworks
get a
all-
first class look.
Exactly.
And of course Mount Adams, the way it is, it's sort of like a little San Francisco because it's up and down hills and it's very steep and all
Right.
that. And fortunately, I had off-street parking. Now, there aren't that many places, unless you have a $1 million condo,
Right.
where you can get your car off the street.
Yeah.
So your car is always parked this way or parked this way or whatever. But anyway, I fortunately had a place to put the car when I was parked. But it's changed so much since even when I was there, because this would have been, I don't know, probably the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
When I had an apartment up there, and everything has been remodeled and overgrown, and Of course, Longworth was probably the favorite place for the Xavier and the UC kids
Yeah.
to hang out. But there were other bars up there. The Pavilion, which was my favorite
Okay.
hangout, and I could crawl back to my apartment.
Call back home if you had to.
Yeah. So anyway, but the river it's a neat and it's a different thing when you're on
Right.
the river. And I think that's why, as much as I like Columbus, I give Cincinnati the up as far as, because the river is a lot,
It's a big draw.
yeah, it is a big draw, and there's so many things that go on around that. And the fact, when you look at, I'll tell you what's always funny, when Cincinnati Magazine would come out with their top 10 neighborhoods,
Yeah.
it was always kind of funny that like 9 out of the top 10 neighborhoods were in northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of development, even in over the Rhine.
Yes.
It's still pretty seedy if you get like 2 or 3 streets off either direction off of the main drag. But there's Cincinnati has gone a lot of transition. A lot of yuppies, they were trying to, and they put a lot of money in
Yeah, they did.
these places that some nice places, even in over the Rhine. But I like Mount Adams because it was probably a little safer in the sense that it's so hard to get up to Mount Adams or get out of Mount Adams very quickly that you can't just snatch and grab. Whereas if you're on Vine or off Vine
Right.
somewhere or down in there, you're at street level and it's pretty easy to get away.
Get on
if
it.
you're trying
Get
to
the 71
abscond.
real quick or 75.
Yeah, but Mount Adams always will have a fond place in my heart. I probably couldn't afford to be up there now, but it's not a cheap place to live.
No,
that's for
and
sure.
even on the Kentucky side, the further you get going towards up the river, I guess if you want to say towards Pittsburgh or the 275 area, the river bank is really starting to blow up on the northern Kentucky side now. I mean, there's
all kinds of development.
yeah, houses are going up, condos are going up, and I had one lady as we were going up the river. I was on the 3rd deck, sort of watching everything going on, and she goes, "Those are new apartments?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "How did she put it?" She goes, "You can think those are going to be rent controlled?" I said, "Oh no." I said, "You're
This
probably."
is in New York.
I said, "You're probably looking at $3,000-4,000 or more a month
Exactly.
just to rent.
Exactly.
If you're going to buy, you're looking at $1.5 million, $2 million plus."
Yeah, there's no cheap real estate along the Ohio River on either side of the state line, and but once again, it's like a lot of things. It's a way of living, living on the river or just off the river, and you've got a lot of interesting businesses
Right.
and things along the river that are very very important. We got a visitor.
Yeah. No, I heard the door open. Nobody's walked through the door
I
yet.
haven't. Someone came in and. oh,
Either they're lost.
I think that's Bill.
Oh,
I think Bill has made it. Is that you, Bill? Oh, okay. All right.
but so yeah, and of course when you're talking about Mount Adam and over the Rhine and everything, now they've taken some of those old, what you want to say, the old businesses who have left town, and they're converting all those to apartments now. So downtown Cincinnati is really starting to boom again, and then they've got they just remodeled the convention center.
Yeah,
So
in fact, the convention center, in just as far back as I can remember, has probably gone through renovations 3 or 4 times, and it just keeps getting bigger and more elaborate. And they get bigger conventions when
Right,
they do
yeah.
that, of course. But the other thing that you find, as far as Cincinnati has sort of that old world German heritage.
Yes.
Especially on the west side of Cincinnati. If you look at Cincinnati, the west side of Cincinnati, a lot of the old German, influence. Then you get on the east side, Montgomery and some of the areas on the east side of Cincinnati, a lot more modern.
Yes.
And you don't get quite that same kind of influence, but there's a lot of history in the Cincinnati area. And Columbus, they have their Italian village and their various villages that they've got divided. And I've lived in both cities. I still would have to say I'm a little more fond of the Cincinnati
The
area.
Queen City area, yeah.
I think that, and once again, I think a big part of that is the river and the river's influence. And the other thing is, let's face it, I'm a little more conservative, and Cincinnati is a little more conservative. I'm maybe not the actual city proper,
Right.
but the Cincinnati area is a little more conservative. Whereas living in Columbus, it's a little more liberal. It's the city of the seat of government, the state government. It's also Ohio State University, one of
Yep.
the largest universities in the world. And those cities, wherever there are universities like that, tend to be a little more liberal. So I think just as far as my comfort, the only thing I would say that amazed me about living in Columbus, like when my ex-wife and we'd go to Costco, the diversity of people that were at Costco, the people from every nationality, every possible group, I just found it amazing all the diversity of people that lived in the Columbus area. And I'm not saying that there isn't diversity in Cincinnati, but Columbus, really is a diverse
I
city.
mean, even the Costco in Centerville, you see a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, even
Centerville, Beaver Creek, you go into the more affluent areas,
Yeah.
and you're going to see, and of course, we lived just near Polaris.
oh yeah, you're way up there. Yeah,
And we were actually in Delaware County. So, and that's where Joe and I were this past weekend. We were at Ohio Wesleyan, which is right there in Delaware, and for a Buckeyes game. Buckeyes, they won by 17 points. Pretty big win for the Buckeyes because last year they just barely eked out a win by about 3 points. And then going to sports real quick, we had Wilmington College, and I don't even remember the score, but it's probably I did it on purpose to forget it because it was close to 60-0. Mount Union.
the big guy.
Yeah, Mount Union. The Mounts ranked number 2 in the country as far as Division III. And of course, Ohio Wesleyan is also Division III, but the Buckeye team, which is technically an intramural team,
Right.
A club football team, they whip up on a lot of those Division III, and they're supposed to be junior varsity squads. But the problem, you can't really tell a junior varsity squad from the varsity squad because they are interchangeable.
Right.
They'll run in junior varsity into the varsity games when they have to. And, 59-0. Yeah, I knew it was close. I knew it was as close to 60 as you could get with it out being 60. And unfortunately, over the years, and we're avid Wilmington College supporters, but over the years we have sat through too many Mount Union games. And another fun fact: it's not fun for the Quakers, but they've never beat Mount Union in the entire history that they've been in the league and played them. They have never won a game against Mount Union. But Mount Union's also won like 17 or 18 national championships. So you can't fault, that
no fault
kind
of
of
their own.
success. It's like Mount Union is like, it's Mount Union and the rest of the OAC because there aren't many teams that ever challenge Mount Union in football.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they come to a football game, like to do a broadcast, because they'll bring their broadcast crews. I think they brought a radio station for the broadcast. They also brought their school sports broadcast radio. And of course, we didn't actually stream for Campus Nation. We streamed for Flow Sports. Still, so Mount Union always, they always have
They have the following and the best.
it's sort of like Cincinnati Moeller. If you've ever seen Moeller, they've ever come to a high school, they bring the best of everything,
Right.
Because obviously it's affordable for them. But anyway, all right. So why don't we take a break?
Okay.
And then because we'll get Bill into this here, and but I'll play some commercials. We'll be right back in just a minute.
Commercial time, folks.
Roller Haven is located at 1640 U.S. Highway 22 Northwest, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. The perfect place for a day out with the family, birthday parties, and even an organization event or fundraiser. Check out our website, rollerhavenwch.com. Or give us a call at 740-335-6355 6481, and we can help plan your event. We look forward to seeing you there.
The final resting place haunted junkyard is located at 988 Polk Road in Sabina, Ohio. Our hours of operation are 8 to 12 of midnight Friday and Saturday nights through the month of October. Our opening weekend is the last weekend of September.
Welcome to downtown Wilmington, Ohio, the place to be. Experience something new with your family and friends in this vibrant and family-friendly historic district. When it comes to dining, shopping, and entertainment, downtown Wilmington has it all. From quick bites to high-end diners, we have a variety of food options to satisfy your taste buds. Explore our artisan boutique shops, jewelers, and florists for unique finds. Pamper yourself with soothing spa treatments, rejuvenating massages, and stylish haircuts at our top-notch studios. Dive into the world of art with our captivating galleries. And catch a show at the historic Murphy Theater, featuring awe-inspiring performances and cultural events. Immerse yourself in history by visiting our iconic landmarks, such as the Murphy Theater, historic General Denver Hotel, our Cultural History Center, and beautifully preserved historic architecture. Throughout the year, Main Street Wilmington hosts a variety of exciting events that embody the spirit of our town. From the Hometown Holodazzle Illuminated Parade to the family-friendly Halloween event and our lively wine walk, there's always something fun happening. Additionally, the Convention and Visitors Bureau presents a summer concert series featuring the annual Rock the Block, and we also have our weekly farmers markets. We boast a designated outdoor refreshment area where you can purchase alcoholic beverages and carry them as you explore the town. So what are you waiting for? Plan your next weekend getaway in downtown Wilmington. Head over to mainstreetwilmington.com for all the latest updates on events, dining, shopping, and entertainment. Downtown Wilmington, Ohio is the place to be. We extend our gratitude to Ralph's American Grill, World Equestrian Center, and R&L Carriers for their sponsorship that supported the creation of this video.
By three.
I love it.
They've lost a lot by just a little amount. But anyway, we want to thank Car Express as well. Troy Bach at Car Express, 740-248-5300. He's always got a good selection of cars on his lot. But if he doesn't have them on his lot, just give him a call at 740-248-5300 and he'll find a car. He's got a network that he deals with, so he can find just about any used car that you want anywhere in the country if it's available. But give him a call, Car Express, right across from Washington High School there in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. We are back.
And of course, you got Witt's and Pizza Hut in the same neighborhood.
That's true, yeah. And let's see, what was I talking about? Oh, well, let me put some of this. So Kevin doesn't know what the Y2H2P is. I have no idea either, Kevin. It must be a thing that's coming from YouTube. I know that YouTube, and that, we've been having these software issues this whole past week. And we were really afraid that because we had 3 big sporting events this past weekend, including the Mount Union game. Even though we weren't doing it as Campus Nation, we were still subcontracted for. And so, Mount Union was going to get a lot of views, we knew. So we wanted to make sure we could get the game done. So fortunately, they continue to work on this software. There's supposed to be another major release this week to correct some of the bugs. But YouTube also last Monday came out with a major overhaul of its system. So this may be some of the stuff we're seeing as well. And I'm thinking that it may have been not a very timely type of a upgrade, because with YouTube changing its platform or upgrading it, and also our vendor, our software vendor, changing their platform at the same time, you know, they have to communicate with each other in order for us to be able to stream.
Right.
That may be what we were seeing, may have been some of the problems. But for the most part, they gave me some workarounds so that I could get us on the air, and we got the game at Washington High School off with Jackson. We used Wilmington College's equipment for the Saturday broadcast because I didn't want to take any chances. And then Sunday, we used our software again successfully for the Buckeyes game in Delaware. So anyway,
So what's that like? It's like a club game or what?
Well, Ohio State, their club football team
Is it JV?
No, it's like intramural, but
Okay.
it's a level. Ohio State's club football team is like most D3. I would put them up against any D3 team, not maybe a Mount Union, okay, but I would say close to a Mount Union as far as how good the Buckeyes club football team is. It's way beyond just a regular intramural football team. And Ohio State's got like 60 different club football teams. They've got every kind of sport imaginable. From, you know, you think about most universities trying to find the money just to fund real,
Right.
Division I or II sports. Ohio State, not only did they fund all their other sports programs, but they've got women's hockey, men's hockey. This is all at the club level. They got darts. They got, pickleball. They got, you name it. Everything at the club level as far as at Ohio State. And they've got synchronized swimming club, they're phenomenal as far as their dance. Their dance teams are second to none across the country, but their club football or their club dancing and synchronized swimming and all, they're always national champions. And the Buckeyes have been national champions 3 out of the 5 years we've broadcast them, and they're defending national champions currently. So, and it looks like they're on their way. After I saw what they did on the game Sunday, I'm thinking they're on their way to another national championship, because there's no teams that I can see that are out there. They beat Michigan State's club football team, which is usually a pretty good team. They beat them like 43-3.
Where do they play at? Do they play at the Shoe?
They play in the shadow, as we say, of the Shoe. They play on probably $500,000 worth of surface that is there for soccer and for the band to practice on. So they've got a football field. It's all marked and everything like a regular football field. It's right there outside the Shoe, and the Ohio State greatest damn band in the land. They practice their script Ohios and all that on that field, so they don't have to go into the stadium to do that. And they have a 30-foot tower that we broadcast from. It's just a metal tower that they've erected, and that way they can put cameras up there. They can film the band, and they can make sure they get everything synchronized. That's how you see when they actually go out and perform, just how synchronized they are.
Yeah.
And the club football team they get they call it the athletic band, but it's like the pep band from the Ohio State band that comes to the games, and they play during the games, and it's like, I don't know, 50 people that play in this pep band that plays during their games. So they've got a DJ there, and he plays all kinds of music. It's a crazy thing, but it's a lot of fun.
Sounds like
And
it.
we've enjoyed it over the years that we've done it.
Sounds fun.
We're not going to come this week into the final resting place. We are going to come back before the end of the season, and I'm hoping that we're going to get them to come in with some of their ghouls and goblins
Characters.
and be here on the at the desk with us. There's Mama there. Good morning, Stephanie. and we've got Angel Atkins, and I don't know once again why we have this.
Good morning, Angel. Angela.
QY3IC. Do you know Angel?
I think it's Angela.
Oh, okay. And
Angel,
we've also
Angela.
got you up there, and see, you even have an F7X. I don't know what all these extra things that they've been adding but that is probably something that is taking place right. And once again, because we have two things that are working with each other or against each other.
Yeah.
We have YouTube with their upgrades that they've been making, and then with our own vendor software, maybe that's where we're seeing all these extra X's and O's. And
letters popping up.
Yeah, and I don't know.
It's a little buggy.
I don't know that, and that's probably true, But I don't, you don't know whether it's our vendor software that's still buggy or whether it's YouTube. The new stuff that they're adding to YouTube, and we haven't used all the stuff that even are available to the old YouTube software, but YouTube is really making some super upgrades to their software and their platform, way out in front of Facebook. And that's
Right.
why we're just happy to be on YouTube for our streaming, because the picture's better, the audio's better, and some of the new stuff they've added is going to make, it's going
Right.
to add even more things to the stuff that we want to do. So what do we got here? What do we want to fold into next?
Well, let's roll into. Well, we were just talking about college. Let's hit the high school stuff real quick. This Saturday. Geez, now you got me thinking college games. Friday.
Right, Friday.
Miami Trace is home. Miami Trace is 8-0. They've got the 6-2 Jackson guys coming into town.
And that will be on Campus Nation.
Courthouse 4-4 is at Hillsborough, who is 4-4. Wilmington's 5-3. Will be home against Goshen, which is 5-3. Clinton Massey's 7-1. They're home with Western Brown, who are 2-6. Blanchester is home. They are 3-5. They're playing Bethel Tate, who are 3-5. And unfortunately, the East Clinton Astros, who are 0-8, host the Williamsburg team, which is 8-0.
That's not going to go well, is it?
No.
Williamsburg's 8-0. Holy moly.
Yeah, they're winning their region. I was at the game Friday night. Fayetteville.
Are you a glutton for punishment? Is that?
Yeah, I haven't been to an East Clinton game yet this year. So, Fayetteville scored their 2 touchdowns. They scored their 16 points in the first 7 minutes of the ball game. Didn't score the rest of the way. East Clinton missed a field goal and an extra point. So it was somewhat of a game down the last couple minutes. Then East Clinton just turned it over on downs.
I was looking at Division III, the region that most of these schools are in.
Yeah.
And Wilmington is, and remember this year it changes, because last year and the year before, since COVID, it's been the top 16 teams
Right.
in each region. Now they've reduced it to the top 12, which I think is a better thing.
Yep.
Wilmington, unfortunately, right now sits at, I think, 16.
Ooh, I checked it last.
Maybe they're sitting at 12. They're sitting right on the edge.
Yeah. Well, I've got it written down. The Division III Region 12 traces 4, so they've guaranteed a spot.
Right.
If they can win out, they'll guaranteed a home spot.
Yeah.
Chillicothe is 7, Jackson is 8, Goshen is 10, and Wilmington's 11. So
Okay, so
they're right.
that's
And this is going to, with Wilmington and Goshen playing, the winner of this game Friday night probably will.
determine who actually enters
Right.
the playoffs.
And
So we've got a lot of teams in the area that are going to be in the playoffs.
Down to the wire.
Just a note, last night, which we didn't do, but last night, Miami Trace's volleyball girls, they played Athens. They actually were able to host them at Miami Trace, and they were victorious, so they move on in the tournament. I don't know who they come up against, but anyway, it's good to see, because the last 2 years, we did have them on Campus Nation. We had to travel to Sheridan both those years, and Sheridan knocked them out. But this time, the way that the volleyball gods, the way
spoke.
it felt, they were able to get into the tournament, and then also beat, because they hosted.
right.
And that's not the only reason, but they beat Athens. They swept them in two games. So anyway. Trace moves on. I don't know what the situation was with Washington, and I don't even know who they're playing in the tournament.
Okay.
We get some information, we'll pass it on.
What about Blanchester? I wonder where they're at.
We got it. Division 4, which is the Massey, Region 16, Massey's 5, New Richmond's 13. Division 5, Region 20, we have Williamsburg is 1. Then we have Waynesville's at the 13 and Greenview's at 12. Division 6, which is Blanchester. They're in 14th right now, so they're outside looking in, so they need to win another couple games. And then locally, Division 7, Region 28, Cedarville is 13th, so they're still knocking on the door. So
And Cedarville's had a pretty good football
Wow,
team. the
you're
last few
really
years.
in on it there.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
some research for
well,
sure.
you know, the area, Southwest Ohio, is pretty
Oh, yeah.
strong for football. When you look at it on a state level, we send a lot of teams into the tournament here in this part of the state, and most of them, end up. Well, if you look at over the last few years, the state champions, and you look at the Clinton Massies, and you look at some of the other teams that are powerhouses from this part of the state, and Cincinnati Moeller.
Oh,
and you
St.
look at-
X, Elder,
that's right.
and all those
Some
guys.
of the biggies, Division One.
Right.
And that was what I was looking at. What I was looking at, because Beaver Creek is not a football school. It's not been since I was in school, so that's been a long time.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're sitting at 16 in the 16-team makeup. Yeah, so I don't think, but they have the best record they've had as far back as I can remember. I think they're 3-4. And that's the best record that they've had.
Had a
Because
while.
typically they'll win 1 or 2 games.
Well, they're in that strong GWAP
yeah,
conference also. So, I mean,
yeah, and Xenia has been really good. Centerville,
yeah.
you've got Fairmont, you've got a lot of Wayne, you've got some.
What
big,
about the one up there in Dayton? There's the Eagles.
Chaminade Julienne?
Yeah.
Well, that's the Catholic League, and of course the Catholic League we all know, since some of our past friends have said, well, they get to recruit. Well, they don't, but they do.
Yeah.
The Catholic leagues tend to have an advantage. Let's put it that way.
Spread their
because
wings.
It's not that they're recruiting. It's just that you're not bound by the same neighborhoods and things like that to draw your students out of. So that's why a lot of the Catholic schools excel in sports. But over the years, a lot of people have said, why don't you make the Catholic schools play in a separate tournament? And the public schools don't want that. No, because they want to play the Catholic schools, and the Catholic schools bring a lot of revenue when they come and play at the public school location. So Catholic schools, there's a competitive balance that everybody's satisfied with when it comes to the Catholic schools and the public schools. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, the champions have come out of here. They always have to go up to Canton, which is a little longer drive for them folks from the Cleveland area who don't have to drive that far there for the tournament games. So, Southwest Ohio's always held itself pretty well.
Yeah, and I think that even this year, it looks like we still have those same powerhouses that are going to go into the tournament and be really strong. And of course, Trace has had a great football team the last several years, and they've got 2 D1 candidates that are
Prospects.
they're going to come out of that. And now where they end up, I know that we have our one guy from Miami Trace that has already said that he's going to Clemson, but he also was. I know Penn State was high on his list, but we've already lost a coach at Penn State.
Yeah, they've lost like 5 commitments already.
I think Clemson's going to be right behind. So when you're a candidate, when you're a D1 football player, potentially, and you've committed or said you were going to Clemson, will you decommit and will you go to Ohio State or somewhere else who's courting you now as well? Or are you going to stick with Clemson? Clemson's got a beautiful campus.
Oh, yeah.
But Clemson's also, they're not big on NIL money. So, he's not doing it because, of the NIL money. Ohio State would probably give him a lot more money to play at Ohio State. And Penn State's a great school, too. I would have preferred he be in the Big Ten than going to Clemson. I don't want anyone in the ACC or the SEC. If we can keep him in the Big Ten, because we got to keep the Big Ten the strong competitive league that it is. And it is. And right now, Joe Davis and I talk about this all the time, but you look at the SEC and you look at the rankings in that, and they're always talking about it, but they were just talking about, you look at Indiana, you look at Illinois, you look at some of these schools and who they beat and who they're competing against, and you look at the SEC teams, they beat up on each other, the SEC teams do, but they keep them high even when they lose, because they say, okay, well, they lost to Georgia, they're only going to drop 2 places. They lost at Alabama. They're only going to drop 3 places. And the minute they win, they elevate them 5
Back
places.
right back up.
When you look at the Big Ten, they're always trying to tear Ohio State down. They're always trying to knock them down all they can. And of course, last year, they just couldn't. Ohio State was just, you almost have to be 10 times as good, in the Big Ten.
Than an SEC team.
Yeah, in order to have any kind of competitive balance against the SEC. So I think the SEC has been down for 2 or 3 years now. It's just that they prop them up. And why? Because ESPN and the SEC
Are bedfellows.
Yeah, and I think if the Big Ten network would have gone the way of ESPN, because there was consideration,
Right, yeah.
they turned them down. If the Big Ten network was on ESPN, then we'd see the same thing with the Big Ten. They'd be bumping these lower, Minnesota would be up there, and Northwestern would be up there, and because that, it's all about the Benjamins, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't Northwestern just beat Penn State?
Yeah. 20,
Yeah.
23-22, I think
That's
it was.
why Penn State doesn't have a football coach.
Yeah, he
for
lost.
the moment. And they said, did you see? They've thrown out some of the potential coaches. They keep bringing out some of our old Ohio State coaches out of retirement. Every time there's a word of putting someone, plugging them in. But you look at their defensive coordinator that they got from Ohio State from last year.
Yes.
He went to Penn State, and suddenly he wasn't that great defensive coordinator that he was the year before. And then we bring in, an NFL defensive coordinator, and we bring him in, and the Buckeyes defense got even better.
Right. They were mad that they gave up, 16 points against Illinois. Some of the
Right.
guys on the defensive
Yeah,
side were
so
mad.
You look at Ohio State. Ohio State just keeps making the right moves in the right areas to continue to improve what they're doing.
Yeah.
And of course, if anyone's ever been up to Ohio State or been to the campus, and we are up there because of the Buckeyes anyway, but you see the stuff, as far as there's so much revenue that's generated by that university. And then you look at the James, and you look at the cancer research, and there's 20 at least, because I know my ex-wife went to probably half of them. There's 20 different medical centers throughout Columbus that are all Ohio State medical centers for different things.
Affiliated, yeah.
Yeah, and then they just added that new addition to the hospital, which makes the hospital, the James, probably at least twice the size that it was.
Jeez.
And they've got a brains. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And probably other than maybe if you're going to the Cleveland Clinic, as far as medical attention. If you need anything medical, you go to the James, because
Oh, yeah.
it's phenomenal, just the stuff that goes on there. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So they'll kick me back some extra money for advertising, Ohio State.
What do you got? What else you got? So, Blant. So you did pretty well in that high school football. You like Ohio State?
Oh, yeah. Ohio State, Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame. Interesting. So who does Ohio State have this week?
So do you really think Notre Dame's that good? See, Notre Dame to me is like a Texas. It's like, and there are a lot of Catholics in this country, and they love Notre Dame. And I've never been a real big Notre Dame fan. Never, as compared to other schools
Right.
that I've, but I don't, and I know their quarterback's decent.
Yeah, I mean, they're in
they've
the
got a winning tradition.
They're in the ACC for football and some sports. So, I mean, they don't play for the league title or nothing, but
They really need to get off the independent kick.
they're making too
Notre
much.
Dame would be I know, and that's the problem. They got their own network.
Yeah, NBC, yeah, the Notre Dame Broadcasting Company. But yeah, it's
And see, that's what Ryan Day is saying about, and he said what I said from the beginning. There were two things I think that were mistakes by the NCAA. The first was NIL.
oh yeah,
The second was the portal. And they've got those things have got to be substantially changed, or college football is going
it's
Bye-bye.
the minor league for the pros.
exactly. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it takes away the fun of college football. And when you make it that much of a business, and I understand, yes, they make a lot of money, and no, students shouldn't have to scrape by when they're generating all that revenue for their universities.
Yeah.
But there has to be some balance, and it has to be distributed more equitably among the players that are playing, because you can't just let the quarterback drive around, in a Rolls Royce, and the rest of the team are riding donkeys, But that's the way the NIL works right
That's
now.
the world
And it causes a lot of, I'm sure, dissension and problems a lot of times at that level. But then you've got the portal, and it's just like these kids that are leaving their teams at the end of the season and not playing in
the bowl games because they want to go to the other school real
exactly. And I understand, once again, they're looking at it from a business perspective. And, there still is a lot of business in this. This is their future as far as if they can make it to the NFL. But we know that not every kid that plays, NCAA football is going to end up
playing football.
Yeah, they're not going to play. They're going to be doing something else. They're going to be an athletic director. They're going to be doing something else. So you look at that, and then on top of it, probably the nail in the coffin is all this sports betting. When you start introducing all this money that's exchanging hands on game days and all this betting going on, how much does that open the NCAA for corruption? Yeah, because now with so much money riding on these games, you just think about, on game day, how much, and I haven't seen any figures, but I know it's got to be absolutely
crazy.
Yeah, the amount of money that's being
because even ESPN, they bring in their bettor on Sunday morning on the Sunday morning show and start talking odds and favorites and all this stuff.
Well, it's enough that the NFL, because you look at teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and the referees and how they treat them and you wonder in your mind, why is this happening, or what is the influence, or are they looking at the lines, or there has to be a lot of temptation when you are in a position, and it only takes a few subtle calls
to change the outcome
during an NFL game. That's right, to change it. And believe me, these referees are so knowledgeable of the game. They know what they can do or what they can't do to sway a game. And like I said, during the course of a game, there might be 3 calls that would change the complexity of the game.
Oh, well, it's like when the Bengals got beat by the Rams in the Super Bowl. In the first quarter, they pull on T's jersey and it doesn't get called. And in the fourth quarter, Logan Wilson barely got a hold of that guy before the pass got there. And they threw a flag on him for holding.
Yeah.
Gave him half the distance to the goal and gave the Rams,
and of course,
they
make fun of the refs. They show it. The game starts, and you see one of the players come out from one of the Kansas City Chiefs. They come out. They open this bag.
Yeah.
It's filled up to the top with money, and of course, this is all AI.
Right.
But there have been some very bizarre calls during these Kansas City games and who they play.
In the last game Kansas City played, they didn't have any accepted penalties.
Exactly. What NFL team can play an absolutely perfect game?
Yeah.
Which is
they
what
didn't have any penalties.
No penalties.
There were no penalties.
What?
Yeah.
That's exactly the point. The point is, and I've
That's
never
crazy.
been like a big Kansas City Chiefs, fan anyway. I've followed teams like the old Oakland Raiders.
Oh, yeah, when they played in the Coliseum on the football field, baseball field combination.
And you had like Kenny Stabler, and you had like George Blanda.
Well,
you had some really incredible football players back then.
Yeah, even the old Dallas Cowboys of the 70s and the Minnesota Vikings where they played at the Met.
Absolutely.
Both teams were
the Packers.
Yeah,
Lambeau. There were some teams back in the day, and some of the players, and those days, we won't probably see those, but everything now. And the Cowboys probably started it because they introduced the computer, this nefarious computer that probably the day of Gil Brandt,
Gil Brandt.
Yeah, I was actually at Gil's house. I had the pleasure because Kurt Peterson used to play for the Cowboys. He was a left guard, and he lived like 3 doors down from where I lived in Dallas. And so I got invited to Gil Brandt's, big house. I think it was in Highland Park. there's University Park and Highland Park in Dallas, very wealthy areas.
Well, yeah.
And in fact, like, I think that one of them drives BMWs as their police cars, the others drive Mercedes Benz. But just, I remember going into these two areas at Christmas time, and they're right just outside of downtown Dallas. And you see all these huge mansions, and you see all this glass and these spiral staircases. Just at Christmas time, you know, you're thinking, how the heck did I end up on this side of the track? Because these houses are, and this is all old Texas oil money, insurance money. This
Land
is oil
money.
Yeah, this is all oil. All the new money was up where I lived in North Dallas, but the old money was right there in University and Highland Park, and the houses just went on and on and on. I mean, you're talking blocks and blocks and blocks of these huge mansions, and you thought, how can even that much money, you know, be in any particular place? But in Dallas, Texas, there
It's
it is.
there.
Yeah, just phenomenal.
Dallas has always been my team.
Yeah.
Ohio State plays Wisconsin this week.
Yeah, and that's probably not going to be a big challenge for the Buckeyes. I mean, Wisconsin, any team from the Big Ten can upset any other team, even the Buckeyes. I don't see Ohio State losing. You know, looking at their schedule, I don't think they're not going to lose to Michigan this year.
Not for what, it'd be 4 years in a row if they do.
Yeah, they're not going to lose to Michigan this year. And Michigan, you know, what did they say? This last week they were eliminated from any potential consideration at all to be in the. Now they're going to go to a bowl probably,
But not the
but they're not going to be in the playoffs.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
And then they play Penn State next week.
yeah. And Penn State,
Or no, on the 1st of November
Penn
they
State
play Penn
could
State.
be a possible. And but see, all these big games are at Ohio State. Penn State comes to Ohio State this year, so you know the other than Michigan. Now, Michigan, they
Right,
gotta go to
they go up
Michigan.
there.
Yeah, they got to go to the big house in order to play that game. But once again, I just don't. I think Penn State would have more of a chance to upset Ohio State than Michigan to beat him.
Yeah, it's hard telling now with their new interim coach what he's going to do
Who's
at
the
Penn
coach?
State.
He can,
He was the defensive line coach or
yeah,
the defensive coordinator.
they've sort of, it's a temporary
Yeah.
bump up until they figure out who they're going to pull out of retirement, or you know, if they can get. You know,
Well, they're looking. They would like to get the coach from Indiana because he has pretty close ties to
see,
the.
you hear all this BS. I heard that Zach from the Bengals was being offered a big chunk of money to come coach Penn State.
Oh,
So
jeez.
could you see that?
No, there ain't no way. I mean, look at Belichick. What's happened to him in North Carolina? There ain't no way. Any pro head coach is going to go down to college
I'm not
because
saying that Belichick isn't a good coach, but I'm saying that most of Belichick's success was their quarterback, not Belichick. You know, when you have, you know, the GOAT,
Yeah.
and he's playing for you, it makes. I could have gone and coached that team and probably
Yeah.
won 5 games or 6 games.
Games a year,
You
yeah.
know, just because, you know, when you got a Tom Brady, you know, as your quarterback.
Speaking of Belichick, have you seen his girlfriend?
Oh, she's hot.
Holy moly.
And, you know, it's sort of like my ex-wife and me, you know. There was a 40-year difference between my ex-wife and me. And Belichick's got about that same, I think, difference.
I think he's almost got 50.
He's coaching, you know, he's coaching college, and she looks like she should be going to college.
Yeah, she does.
She's really young, and you know, it's she either has a daddy complex
Nah.
or, you know, but, you know, a lot of that floats around out there, and I raise my hand. You know, it happens.
It does. But no, you were asking me about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Back in the day, this was we're talking when I was 9 or 10. Of course, there's no ESPN, no replays or nothing like that. So Channel 5, Notre Dame would always replay their games. They would condense their games down to an hour. So on Sunday morning between 11 and 12, Channel 5 would show the replay of the Notre Dame game. So you had the whole game condensed into an hour. So Lindsay, oh shoot.
They'd cut out the commercials.
The
and stuff like
commercials,
that.
they would just go to the
Highlights, yeah.
highlighted the play. You know, time constraints. We're going to go to jump forward in the second quarter or whatever. And then at that time, the NFL pregame series was just a half an hour from 12:30 to 1. So every Sunday, I was always watching Notre Dame football from 11 to noon. And
They were big on Sundays.
yeah, and that's how you got, Paul Hornung and Lindsey Nelson doing the play-by-play,
This was before there were Bengals. In most cases, this was like, I remember you'd get up early in the morning, you'd watch like those highlights that you're
Yeah.
talking about. You'd be waiting for the Cleveland Browns to come on later in the afternoon, and I think those games started around noon or 1 o'clock on Sundays. But Cleveland was the only team at the time. And of course that Cleveland team is in Baltimore now.
Right.
But
that's why I was a Viking fan, because there's no other team in Ohio except the Browns. I became a Viking fan in 67. The Bengals started up in 68, 69,
right.
and moved into here. So once the Bengals got their training camps going in here, you sort of got...
Well, you can't live in Wilmington and
Not get-
with the training camp being here.
Right.
You can't get to be a Bengal fan.
You can't get sucked into sucked into it.
And that's why, I still, I'm not a Bengals fan, but at the same time, I support the Bengals because I've got so many friends, from this, obviously living in Wilmington that grew up with the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
And that,
Who's your team, Rick?
and went to Wilmington, the Cowboys.
That's right.
Of course, yeah, Dallas. And you know what? I support them thick or thin, and they're mostly been thin for a while. But,
Yeah.
like I said, part of that reason was in living in Dallas.
Right.
My girlfriend at the time, she was an aerobics instructor, and she actually kept the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders in shape. And I would go with her.
That'd be the
to a
best
lot of
job
those
in the world.
workouts. So where the Cowboy cheerleaders, they were working out and doing routines and just trying to keep in shape, and she was whipping them into shape, and I was there taking it all in. So how can you not be a Cowboys fan? You got the they were the first to have cheerleaders.
Right.
The Cowboy cheerleaders and those outfits, and then and then for me to actually have and meet a lot of famous Cowboys over the years, and be to Gil Brandt's mansion and
Gil
go to
Brandt.
and Gil Brandt with he was, and unfortunately ownership with the Cowboys now is probably, it's sort of like when Marge Schott tried to run the
Reds.
The Reds. When owners get too involved with the operation of their team,
Nothing good comes out of it.
You look at the Bengals, and now Katie Brown probably is the best as far as of any of the Browns that have ever chose to operate the Bengals. But you look at where these ownership interests, and you look at Paul Brown has never met a quarterback he didn't love. Brown was a big he falls in love with all these different quarterbacks, whether they're good or not. And of course, we must have the same situation up in Cleveland, because look at the quarterbacks that they have been through. And at least they did get Joe Burrow, who eventually will probably be traded to the Cowboys. I keep
We
scaring
don't
keep
need
saying
it.
it.
We got the MVP playing for us right
you
now.
keep talking about Dak. He has every Cowboy record just about for a quarterback.
He just passed Aikman. He's getting ready to pass Romo soon.
I know, and for whatever, but he can't win a playoff game.
I know.
No.
And so quarterbacks, and you look at what would Brady have been if he hadn't won Super Bowls? The goats are the ones that actually clinch the deal.
They show
win.
up.
When it's hot, they show up and they perform, and that's the ones that are remembered. And you don't, just because Fran Tarkenton threw for 20,000 plus yards, and you remember that's impressive. But at the same time, how many Super Bowls have the Vikings won?
They were 0-4.
How many Super Bowls have the Buffalo Bills won?
0-4.
So-
Lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
How about them Cowboys?
Yes, they have a lot of rings on their fingers. But look at in our league or division here. You look at those Pittsburgh. As much as we don't like them,
Yeah.
you look at that Pittsburgh team and how successful they've been over the years.
Only 3 head coaches in the whole.
It comes back to
Ownership.
at the ownership of the team. And you look at the most successful, including the Cowboys, back when ownership was different. The ownership had so much to do with the success of those teams.
And they stayed out of the way.
And granted, the Cowboys is probably, well, it is. It's the most valuable professional sports franchise in the world. And the value between the stadium and the team and all that is in the $1 billion range. and far exceeds most any other professional sports franchise that comes in second. But it doesn't do any good just because you're worth the most.
Right.
You got to win championships. You got to win playoff games. And the Cowboys
you cannot,
and Dak have just
you
not
cannot
done
show
it.
up for.
Yeah. And I'm not saying Dak isn't a great quarterback. He is, and he does hold all those records. But at the same time, and he holds those records against some great quarterbacks. Whether you're talking Romo or you're talking Staubach, there have been some fantastic players that have gone through that Dallas Cowboy organization. But at the same time, it's like, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
And they haven't done a lot, and neither has the Cincinnati Reds, although they did make it in the playoffs. We'll give them credit for
We
that.
backed in, but we made it.
And the Bengals, and the Bengals have been in 2 Super Bowls, and, they just happened to go up against a very strong San Francisco
3
team.
Super Bowls.
Yeah, 3. The third one
Yeah,
being
the
this
Rams,
this
yes.
one you were just talking about, the Rams. And just even being in 3 Super Bowls is impressive compared to a lot of teams, but to be in 4 and not win any of them, that's...
Well, and to lose 4 consecutive as the poor Bills and Jim Kelly did. I mean, that's heartbreaking.
But
2
who
wide
did they
right
go
field
up
goals.
against most of the time during those years?
The last 2 were the Cowboys.
That's right. They just happened, unfortunately, to have to play the Cowboys during some of
They
their
played
greatest
the
years.
whole NFC East, didn't they? Play the Washington, New York Giants, and then the Cowboys.
Yeah. The Bills definitely they've had they were down on their luck. That's for sure.
Oh, Vicky Kendall says, "Oh dear, an hour of sports yawn."
Well, no, we're Vicky. We're obviously what this week is about. Just to clarify, we are working on some of the new stuff that we're going to be doing, and so when you talk about fill, because we're not just trying to fill, but we don't have the characters. Let's put it this way. But we also, I'm not being called to the principal's office every other day because of it too. But right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to at least stay on the air while we're revamping, while we're getting our software situation straightened out. And then once we relaunch, I guess you could say, and that's probably going to, our real relaunch is going to take place about the same time that we launch the new Wake Up Washington Courthouse show. And that is coming along. We're doing a test stream Sunday from Vinyl Coffee on Sunday afternoon to test, and we're going to do it live so people can actually tune into the test stream. And you'll see the way the table's going to be set up there. You'll see the courthouse in the windows, the huge floor-to-ceiling windows behind that table.
Right.
It's going to be an impressive set, much like our set is here, a little different, but we expect, and Vinyl Coffee, that coffee shop up there, if you've never been up to Courthouse since they've opened, stop in. It's absolutely impressive. And what I'm thinking is once we get started up there, they are now, they're roasting their own coffee. So I'm going to snatch some of that coffee from up there and come down here so that we've got good coffee every morning here, right here when we do our show here. Then the other great thing about there is they will be open from 7 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, Monday through Saturday. And so we will have a live audience for every broadcast up there. Unlike here, we don't have. We could bring a live audience in here, but they'll be there anyway.
So, yeah, it's
That
already
place
going to
fills
be pre-made, or a pre-made audience with everybody getting their coffee and shooting the breeze for a little bit.
A lot of excitement. So I would imagine that that's going to be an interesting set to be able to do a show from. And of course, Uncle Punky, Mark he'll be the host of that show, and we're probably going to have some of our guys here go up there occasionally. The other thing is we have fiber up there, we have fiber down here, so we can literally do a remote from here to up there during the show because of the fiber.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And vice versa. So let's say we have someone that comes in up there that's an interesting interview, we can have that interview simulcast up there and here so that the people here can see the actual interview from Vinyl Coffee on this channel as well. So and that's one of the reasons we want to get this software situation
Figured out.
figured out, because once the software situation is finalized and we know that it's back and it's working, and there's so many things that this software that we lease can do, and of course being able to do it now. We talk about this software, but I've introduced a third wheel to this. We are looking at a hardware solution that we might use for Wake Up Wilmington and Wake Up Washington Courthouse, so it won't be total software. We won't be software dependent, and that's something else. I got the unit behind me sitting up on the bar there. I'm probably going to run some tests this afternoon, but I've got my meeting this afternoon with Dustin and with Molly, and hopefully that thing will be put together well and work out, and might even give us some advantages to going into Washington Courthouse with maybe, a real changed Washington Courthouse as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully, the biggest thing they will bring to the table, besides just hosting or helping host on maybe a day or two a week, will be also the fact that because they do what we do only in their newspaper, and they introduce the area to merchants and things that are going on in
New
Wilmington,
folks and everything.
they can bring those people in for the show. They can bring those people in, and that'll help us in our scheduling as well. And another thing is we're working hand in hand with Wilmington College now, and we have been given the green light to up to we could have 5-6 interns that will help us schedule people,
Navigate the
do
system.
other things that we need to do, and so that's just a matter of putting that together too, because we're going to be doing a lot of Wilmington College sports this year, working with the athletic department there. We're doing football now. We're going to be doing basketball. It'll all be through subcontracting Flow Sports, but Wilmington College is the one that's working with us to do that. So there's advantages to do that.
Right.
So Vicki, what we're just
Hang
saying is,
tight.
just like your plants that are out there in the fields, just give us some time. We'll get it all straightened, and believe me, it'll be worth the wait, because it's going to make it an even more interesting, And Bill, he can be hosting as well. We've got Rick. We've still got some dynamic, exciting people that are knowledgeable about all kinds of areas of expertise that we can bring in, and that can be a part of the show.
We taking a break? You want to take a
We'll
break?
take a break. We'll be right back. Let's make some money.
Yes.
Lights are off.
The final resting place haunted junkyard is located at 988 Polk Road in Sabina, Ohio. Our hours of operation are 8 to 12 or midnight Friday and Saturday nights through the month of October. Our opening weekend is the last weekend of September.
Roller Haven is located at 1640 U.S. Highway 22 Northwest, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. The perfect place for a day out with the family, birthday parties, and even an organization event or fundraiser. Check out our website, rollerhavenwch.com, or give us a call at 740-335-6481, and we can help plan your event. We look forward to seeing you there. Roller Haven is located at 1640 U.S. Highway 22 Northwest, Washington Courthouse, Ohio. The perfect place for a day out with the family, birthday parties, and even an organization event or fundraiser. Check out our website, rollerhavenwch.com, or give us a call at 740-335-6481, and we can help plan your event. We look forward to seeing you there.
to downtown Wilmington, Ohio, the place to be. Experience something new with your family and friends in this vibrant and family-friendly historic district. When it comes to dining, shopping, and entertainment, downtown Wilmington has it all. From quick bites to high-end diners, we have a variety of food options to satisfy your taste buds. Explore our artisan boutique shops, jewelers, and florists for unique finds. Pamper yourself with soothing spa treatments, rejuvenating massages, and stylish haircuts at our top-notch studios. Dive into the world of art with our captivating galleries. And catch a show at the historic Murphy Theater, featuring awe-inspiring performances and cultural events. Immerse yourself in history by visiting our iconic landmarks, such as the Murphy Theater, historic General Denver Hotel, our Cultural History Center, and beautifully preserved historic architecture. Throughout the year, Main Street Wilmington hosts a variety of exciting events that embody the spirit of our town. From the Hometown Holodazzle Illuminated Parade to the family-friendly Halloween event and our lively wine walk, there's always something fun happening. Additionally, the Convention and Visitors Bureau presents a summer concert series featuring the annual Rock the Block, and we also have our weekly farmers markets. We boast a designated outdoor refreshment area where you can purchase alcoholic beverages and carry them as you explore the town. So what are you waiting for? Plan your next weekend getaway in downtown Wilmington. Head over to mainstreetwilmington.com for all the latest updates on events, dining, shopping, and entertainment. Downtown Wilmington, Ohio is the place to be. We extend our gratitude to Ralph's American Grill, World Equestrian Center, and R&L Carriers for their sponsorship that supported the creation of this video.
Hey, might as well hit up a little bit of what's going on at the Murphy.
Yes.
If you folks missed the Neil Diamond concert this past Saturday, you missed a real good concert. The guy did a real good job. So hopefully we can get him back in the fold here, if not next year, maybe the year after. If you want to come on out to the movies Friday night, this Friday the 17th, we've got Wicked is here. And again, it is $7 a person, $12 for the family, or if you're a Murphy member, it is free.
And that's PG, isn't it?
Yes. Let me go back and double check. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I thought it was for the youngsters.
So, and then I'm just going to read this right off the Murphy site because everybody's been asking me. The Dueling Piano International. It's the Dueling Piano International. Join us for a fundraising event to benefit the Health Alliance of Clinton County with a performance by Dueling Pianos International. Put two sharp-witted, incredible, talented musicians with two grand pianos on stage. Then add a room full of people. The result is an evening of fast, funny, and unforgettable entertainment. Their music reciprocates ranges from classical rock to country to hard rock, R&B, and the show tunes to the top 40. So it sounds like a really interesting, beautiful evening. Come on out here with the Murph folks. Again, the doors open at 6:30. This will start at 7:30. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to say anything out of turn. Let me get here real quick. I want to say the tickets are $35. Every seat is $35, folks. So come on out, help support Health Alliance, and of course help support the Murphy and your local downtown restaurants when you get here. Then on the 24th, we have the Rear Window. That also is a PG. It's an hour and 52 minutes long, and it's got James Stewart in it. So that should be another interesting haunted movie with Halloween being this October. Also, not mistaken, this Saturday is the downtown Halloween.
I think so, yes.
Because the Murphy
the
will...
giveaway, the candy giveaway.
Yes, because the Murphy will only be open. We are involved in it, but we're only doing it from 11 to 2 because we do have the event that night.
Right.
Last year, I think we did like 4 hours of it, but this year we're going to knock it down just to 11 to 2 so we can get ready for the event and get everything set up for those folks.
And you'll have to check because there's a lot of merchants on Main Street, on Sugar Tree,
Yes.
around town that are giving away candy, for the kiddies.
Right.
And so you just have to make sure that you find out who they are and where they are.
Yes. And then on October 25th is the Rhinestone Cowgirls, a tribute to all the female country artists who have come up through the years.
So it's not barrel racing?
No,
Is that-
not barrel racing.
No, okay.
No, we're not bringing no horses or minute.
I wasn't sure.
No, so that will be another good one. And then, of course, we're all looking forward to this one. And I'm coming to this one just more out of curiosity because it ought to be a good one. We are actually showing. I don't even know how to say that, so I'm going to just spell it for you. It's Nosferauta.
Oh,
Detrofanus or however. It's a silent movie. It is a classic horror movie. And we are also having the Peach Time Reg Orchestra. We'll be playing either on the stage, on the pit.
We still haven't decided.
Still haven't decided. And that will round out the month of October. So there's still some stuff going on in the Murphy for this month, folks. In November, we've got AC/DC.
Once we get past Halloween,
Yes.
we kick into full gear between now and the first of the year. So.
Yeah, because November we've got November 1st is Thunderstruck. Then on Friday, November 7th, break out the platforms in your disco shoes because we got Saturday Night Fever. And then on November 8th, we've got Abomania and Night Fever. So there's still a lot going on. So still got some concerts here at the Murphy, and won't get too far ahead of ourselves. But come on out, support us, support the downtown community. And remember, this Saturday from 11 to 2 is the downtown trick-or-treat for the kiddies. Daylight, a little safer. Parents feel a little safer with their kids out in the afternoon anymore than they do at night.
Last year that came out.
Yes,
so I'm sure
downtown
we'll
was
be busy.
packed.
Yeah.
So just think about that in your kids and come on out and support everybody.
Okay. So, do we have any this day in history? Not much.
Not much. We got some.
Sounds like-
I'm not Joe. I don't have any birthdays to mess with you and try
well,
to.
that's good.
That's good?
Here's Joe. This is Joe's rendition of birthdays. Guess when this guy's birthday is. What? Not guess how old he is.
His
high or
birthday.
low. Guess his birthday. December the 15th, 2000. How are you going to do this? Joe's a nutcase when he invents these things. So what's today in history?
Well, we'll start with 1834. The first African American granted a U.S. patent, Henry Blair, and that was for the corn planter. 1884, George Eastman is granted a patent for the paper strip for photography film.
Right? Eastman Kodak. Is
Yes,
what they
Eastman
became.
Kodak, that's where it goes. We'll jump down here to 1947. Chuck Yeager makes the first supersonic flight in the Bell XS-1. It's that little jet that they had underneath the wing.
Broke the sound barrier.
Yes, at a whopping 1.06 Mach per hour, which is nothing nowadays. 1952, the U.S. General Assembly meets for the first time in its new location in New York City. 1960, the Peace Corps is first suggested by John F. Kennedy in a speech at the University of Michigan. Talking about George Blandon, a little bit of football. 1962, the Houston Oilers, remember them folks, they used to be the Oilers, now they're the Titans. George Blanda, who played, I think, into his 60s, it seemed like, throws
played a
six.
long time.
He was, yeah.
And he could quarterback too.
Yeah, that's what he
He
did.
came in sometimes, he'd quarterback.
He
he'd
backed
kick,
up
he'd do just
Kenny
about
Stabler
everything.
on the Raiders and all that
Exactly.
good stuff.
Right.
He throws 6 touchdown passes against the New York Titans in a 56-17 win. 1962 also, the U.S. U-2 spy planes detect missile launchers in Cuba. 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. is awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. 1975, U.S. President Gerald Ford escapes injury when his limo gets T-boned.
Must not have been the Beast that time.
No. So he got T-boned. Somebody ran a red light and ignored all the protocol when the motorcade was going through. This is a crazy one here. Let me get my dates here right, folks. 1986, Tim Kides, Kides, of West New York, New Jersey, performs 23,000 leg lifts in 11 minutes and 37 seconds. Now,
23,000?
don't ask me why. It just popped up on this day in history, so it's one of those oddball things, whether it's a Guinness World Book of Records or not, I don't know. But who in the world's going to try to do that anyway? If I'm going to break a record, I'm going to do something very, very simple.
Yeah, not leg lifts. I'd like how many people could you fit into a phone booth?
or the Volkswagen back in the 60s.
Exactly, yeah. We did those crazy things, too.
Mm-hmm.
What was your record for the phone booth?
The phone booth, I think, was like 15. That's a phone booth, a regular,
Yeah, regular phone booth that kids.
Booth, they don't even have them now. I think they did. If it's a phone booth now, it's not completely enclosed.
It's just a little.
Yeah, it's up off the ground, but
Just got the little case around it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they always have kids taking pictures of it because it is ancient history, prehistoric history to the kids nowadays.
Well,
Because
if you want to confuse a kid today, you hand him
a rotary
dial phone and say, "What is this?"
Yeah, have them try it.
Yeah.
And of course, 2007, one of the craziest reality shows was Keeping Up with the Kardashians, premiered on E-Cable Network this day in 2007.
And now they're multimillionaires.
Yes, it was craziness.
Yeah.
And then the last one I got here is 2020 or 2020. A copy of William Shakespeare's first portfolio sells for $9.68 million in an auction in New York City.
Yes, to be or not to be.
Yes, that is the question.
Yes. Yeah. It was worth some money.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of the days in the history.
All right. 9:21. I'm trying to think if we want to take another break, and then when we come back, we're not really, or we haven't played any games as of late, and I don't even think we have games set up to play. But Bill, you asked about it, and it's like so many things that I have. I've had equipment and software that I don't use or haven't used for as long as a year and a half, and then I finally break it out and say, okay, I'm going to use it. Well, we have been testing and retesting the software for the gaming upstairs in the production studio, and that's where I'm meeting this afternoon for our meeting. But also, I've got this other piece of hardware that the college uses for streaming their games and stuff. But it's a hardware thing rather than our production software is software. What's the difference? Well, there's limitations in both. There's pluses and minuses. So I'm trying to figure that out. But I think that this hardware solution we'll probably start using here in Wilmington and also at Washington Courthouse for the actual production. And then we will continue to keep the software stuff for our games and for our sports broadcasting. But time will tell if the hardware actually works the way I expect it to. The biggest drawback with the hardware is that it doesn't have Wi-Fi. It doesn't use Wi-Fi to connect to the internet. It has to have the Ethernet plug. So you have to be, of course, we'll have fiber in both locations.
Right.
But the other question will be how we get fiber, because I don't think they have fiber at the Washington Courthouse location up near where we actually will have our desk, our table. Here in the Murphy, when I had the fiber installed here, we have a fiber unit here in Charlie's. We have another one in the production studio, and we have another one in our office or studio upstairs. So we have 3 of these units, and even though those units radiate Wi-Fi, which is what we use to access the internet on our laptops and that kind of stuff, they also have ports on the back of them, so you can still plug into them if you need to. Now, I know that Glow Fiber, which is the fiber that they've got there in Washington Courthouse, they've got units like this that you can plug into. But to my knowledge, we don't have a unit like that up there at the front table where we're going to be. So that's something we'll have to answer. That's the reason for this walkthrough on Sunday, is so that we can sort of work all those bugs out and what we're going to need and what we're going to have, and are we going to have this or whatever. Because, once again, that will determine whether we use a software-only solution, whether we can use the hardware solution, what direction we go. But that's the way this is. Every day is a different day and a different thing that's going on. But and so back to Vicki Kendall, that's why right now it's like we're just keeping the airwaves going while we're getting all this other stuff organized, so that when we have this new big send-off for both the shows, everything will be
working right,
and it'll be down pat. Right, exactly. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll investigate. All right?
Investigate, yes.
Yeah.
Investigate, huh?
The final resting place haunted junkyard is located at 988 Polk Road in Sabina, Ohio. Our hours of operation are 8 to 12 on midnight Friday and Saturday nights through the month of October. Our opening weekend is the last weekend of September.
Welcome to downtown Wilmington, Ohio, the place to be. Experience something new with your family and friends in this vibrant and family-friendly historic district. When it comes to dining, shopping, and entertainment, downtown Wilmington has it all. From quick bites to high-end diners, we have a variety of food options to satisfy your taste buds. Explore our artisan boutique shops, jewelers, and florists for unique finds. Pamper yourself with soothing spa treatments, rejuvenating massages, and stylish haircuts at our top-notch studios. Dive into the world of art with our captivating galleries, and catch a show at the historic Murphy Theater featuring awe-inspiring performances and cultural events. Immerse yourself in history by visiting our iconic landmarks, such as the Murphy Theater, historic General Denver Hotel, our Cultural History Center, and beautifully preserved historic architecture. Throughout the year, Main Street Wilmington hosts a variety of exciting events that embody the spirit of our town. From the Hometown Holodazzle Illuminated Parade to the family-friendly Halloween event and our lively wine walk, there's always something fun happening. Additionally, the Convention and Visitors Bureau presents a summer concert series featuring the annual Rock the Block, and we also have our weekly farmers markets. We boast a designated outdoor refreshment area where you can purchase alcoholic beverages and carry them as you explore the town. So what are you waiting for? Plan your next weekend getaway in downtown Wilmington. Head over to mainstreetwilmington.com for all the latest updates on events, dining, shopping, and entertainment. Downtown Wilmington, Ohio is the place to be. We extend our gratitude to Ralph's American Grill, World Equestrian Center, and R&L Carriers for their sponsorship that supported the creation of this video.
Roller Haven is located at 1640 U.S. Highway 22 Northwest, Washington Courthouse, Ohio, the perfect place for a day out with the family, birthday parties, and even an organization, event, or fundraiser. Check out our website, rollerhavenwch.com, or give us a call at 740-335-6481, and we can help plan your event. We look forward to seeing you there.
Sports for us, because they They were really good. And, you know, it's hard, and I feel bad for the Quakers because they get beat up so much by Mount Union. But and we're on the air, by the way.
Yes.
When you've got a game that's, you know, basically 60 to nothing, and and right to the very end, these broadcasters from Wilmington College, these young guys, you know, they were positive and they kept, you know, being positive. And whereas I probably would have been asleep, you know, of course I'm 72, but
Finding the good in anything they can
it's
find.
very difficult as a broadcaster when you're that far, you know, behind.
Well, it's always like when the Bengals were on Sunday night or Monday night, it was a blowout. The guys would start talking about the game next week.
Yeah, you
because you just can't do so much.
You'd get that situation that would, you know, it's people don't realize sometimes how difficult it is, you know, to sit in front of a camera and a microphone and keep people entertained when you're talking about something that's live and it's not scripted.
Right.
And whether you're now, granted, maybe there is a script when you're doing play-by-play because you're telling them what's going on the field, and there's essentially a script because, you know, the coaches
It's
are
a fluid
scripted.
script, yeah.
That's right. But when you're talking about a program like this, it takes a lot of time and effort, and there are
And research too.
That's right. There are companies that actually produce scripts for morning shows. I don't like those scripts because they're typically the Tom and what is it? Tom and
Tom, Tom and Bob and Tom.
Bob.
yeah,
Tom.
Bob and Tom show, or you know, they're and I'm not saying they're not entertaining, but we try to do more local information and
Yeah.
merchant information, whereas those Bob and Tom shows, it's slapstick, you know, it's like Lucille Ball back, you know, again, but
Wilmington College football coming up, and on the 18th they're playing Otterbein.
right, they're going to be away at Otterbein this weekend.
Yeah. And then they got Anderson University the week after.
Yeah, and I think
That's an away game too.
yeah, in fact, yeah, Wilmington College will be away for the next couple weeks, and so we're going to see. We're going to have a little break here. Now, the Buckeyes, they are off this Sunday, but they'll be back the week after. And trying to think who they play. Wright State, I think, will be at Wright State.
Oh, okay.
So that will be at Wright State, and it's a lot of fun when we go out to Wright State because that's where I graduated from. But
Clinton Massey, today, let's see here. What's the date? Is the 14th. So Clinton Massey just beat Wilmington
Yeah.
38-7 last week.
yeah, that wasn't a happy time for Wilmington. You know, and once again, let's just hope that they will listen to our pleas, and they will get that game with Massey and Wilmington back to the
The last game of the season, yeah. I'm sure. I'm hoping the Southern Buckeye Athletic and Academic Conference
Listens to
does
its
that.
fans. Yeah, well, because you know the black and blue game
Yeah.
at the end of the season with Washington Courthouse and with Miami Trace, that is a rivalry.
Yeah, and you figure last game of the season, you don't want to have to travel too far. You want to keep it sort of somebody local. You know, East Clinton, Bland, Massey, Wilmington, Bethel, Tate, Batavia. You know, maybe Western Brown and New Richmond or something like that. Versus these long road trips at the end of the year that nobody really is up for.
Well, you know, back in the day, and of course, most of our broadcasts when we were doing Wilmington, they were in the SCOL.
Yes.
And the SCOL wasn't the greatest league, but it was certainly better than I think we've got it now.
It was more feasible, more travelable. You didn't have a lot of travel time, and you got a little bit better gate.
And that's the
and
key
stuff like
too.
that.
That's the key is, you are hoping for a good gate. And when you're bringing all these schools up from the river, like New Richmond and some of these other schools that are so far away,
Right.
the other thing is, if you're playing football, for the most part, football season is not that cold. You don't get snow, you don't get, a lot of ice, things like that. But by the time you get to basketball season,
We were in wicked weather.
that's right. To travel south towards the river, anywhere along the Ohio River in the wintertime is a very dangerous proposition. And that's why, I just flat out said, Campus Nation, we won't be traveling to away games in the wintertime simply because it's just too dangerous. I can remember not being able to get to East Clinton during the winter,
That's
because
pretty bad.
it was snowing pretty bad.
You gonna do any Blanchester games this year?
It's very strange about Bland. The only thing we've ever done at Bland is wrestling, and it's not that we don't want to do Bland. It's that, I think sometimes you run into an athletic director that is not enamored with what you're doing.
Who is there?
I have no idea. To be honest with you, I have not talked with Blanchester's athletic director probably for a couple athletic directors. But at the time that we did the wrestling, I don't even think it was just a dual meet. I think it was a tournament, and that's why we were at Blanchester. And I that's the first time, maybe the second time I'd ever even been in the Blanchester gym. And I liked the walk around.
Oh,
And, it was perfect for us as far as doing, because you could be up there and do a down shot, and for wrestling, it's a good, sort of like Wilmington's gym in
Yeah.
a sense. You've got a perspective that you don't normally have in most gyms, other than maybe like if you're in Westchester and you're doing one of the east or west, their gyms are the same way where, they've got an upper and lower deck. But we've never done a Blanchester football game from Blanchester, and I don't know why. And Blanchester's had some darn good teams, as
Yeah.
well as look at their basketball. They had that kid that played basketball for Blanchester for 4 years.
Oh, Steeple, I think is
Yes.
that Steeple?
Sipple.
Siffle, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolute
Braden.
phenom as far as in basketball. And so, we featured him a lot when he came to Wilmington. And of course, maybe part of that was that Wilmington went to the Final Four. And so the years that, the Cumberland cousins
Right.
were there, they sort of shut everybody out, That was another reason I think the SCOL ended up breaking up.
Well, that and I know
Massey. Jackson.
And Jackson, yeah.
Jackson-
Chillicothe wanted somebody further south with them.
And Jackson had petitioned the SCOL for years to get in the league. And it wasn't their fault. They wanted to get, they thought it was a great league. They wanted to be
Right.
a part of it. The problem was when you look at Wilmington and especially Massey, it was over 100 miles, to go and do a game. And and then you look in the wintertime trying to travel, especially even going to, like I said, East Clinton. But when you go east in the wintertime, you go down to Chillicothe, you go down into the hills.
Yep.
But look at Jackson. Trying to travel to Jackson in the wintertime is like trying to travel to the river as far as the SBAAC. It's just you
don't really want to do it.
That's what drives athletic directors crazy, because they're having to reschedule and reschedules, and it just gets to be.
Well, and then nobody wants to travel to them anyway.
Yeah. I liked some of the schools, so don't get me wrong. I enjoyed in football season being on the roof of New Richmond's their press box. We were on the roof, and New Richmond's press box is already on a hill and overlooking. You could see for miles, but when you're on top of that roof, it is impressive. The only other place that I've ever been that was as impressive, we were on the roof at Ashland, which is a D2 school up
Yep.
north, and Ashland's, their press box was like 5 stories, and we were on top of their roof, and you could probably see for several counties that we were up so high, and the wind, was blowing and all that. I had one girl that didn't like heights, but we got her to come up there, and she was like clinging to the railing and everything. She was so scared to death of being up so high, but we've been into some interesting situations, and for the most part, we've been to the Hall of Fame many times because at the time we were doing the Pioneers, which they're a Canton team, college. What's their first name starts with an M. The something Pioneers. Anyway, it escapes me at the moment, but that was their home field. They actually played at the Hall of Fame for their home field. So then they built their own stadium. Then they stopped playing football.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy? They had just finished their stadium, and then they announced, we're not doing football anymore. So Malone Pioneers, and they're right there in Canton. But so we had the pleasure of doing for a couple seasons Malone's home football games, which were always there at the Hall of Fame. And of course we went to the we did 2 state championships at the Hall of Fame with Massey over the 5 years that we followed Massey, and of course they won 3 state championships.
Yeah, back to backs.
Yeah, and so it was a lot of fun with Clinton Massey. I can remember as far as Campus Nation, the most viewers we ever had live on a Campus Nation broadcast was over 8,000, and that was for Clinton Massey, and that was in the Hall of Fame. That was at one of the state championships. 8,000 was, and of course we weren't doing video because you can't do video at the state level. The championship level, you have to do just audio. But we did audio and had 8,000 listeners to our audio stream for that Massey game.
It says here on, I got the Crime Radar app. It says rescue incident near Center Road in Wilmington.
A rescue incident?
Near Center Road in Wilmington.
Huh. Well, that's not far from here because
No.
I used to, live on Gurneyville, and that's right up from Center.
Right off the Nelson.
So we say there's a rescue.
There is a rescue incident. No other information.
So I wonder what rescue. I mean, it could be a fire. It could be an accident. It could be
Medical emergency.
yeah.
It says specialized. It says emergency rescue operation occurred near Center Road in Wilmington, requiring specialized response.
Huh.
So, well,
Well, there's some interesting stuff that has gone over the years on Center Road. I think that's sort of an interesting place. And it's out in the country, and there's but anyway.
Anyway, for the weather, folks, today is it's going to be 73 high, 69 tomorrow, and 68 on Thursday. Now next week is when the bottom drops out.
We get cold.
Starting next Sunday, yeah, the 19th, we're looking at 62 for the high.
ooh.
So the bottom
We're gonna
drops
be
out
maybe
after
in
this week's, folks.
The
You better
high
enjoy.
30s, low 40s for the evenings, huh?
Yeah, and even how you don't want to go that far out, but they're even like Friday the 24th, the high is 58 right now. So
Yeah, we are getting.
fall is getting here. very
Fall is
quickly. You
falling.
better enjoy these last few sunny days, and I know we got some showers coming in Friday night and Saturday morning. So
Might actually see some winter.
yeah, we've been very fortunate the last month with this weather we've had.
Yeah, I was wondering when the bottom was going to fall out, but it sounds like it's coming.
Yeah, I remember years and years and years ago, because I was still up walking, but anyway, we were at the Massey football game, and they were playing East Clinton, and there's a severe winter weather advisory put out for the Tuesday and Wednesday of the week coming up, and we all sort of just blew it off or whatever. No, we got 6 inches of snow. We had snow in the pumpkin. We had snow that kids were trick-or-treating in the snow, so we've had years we've had snow before the end of before the end of the high school season, and did some trick or treating in the snow and all that other good stuff. So we've been very fortunate the last month for this weather we've had.
Yeah, well, I know many times we've had flurries, we'll say,
Yeah,
around Halloween. So that's not unusual. In fact, I know that when my kids were younger, my girls, their birthdays fell about at the in October. And actually, one of them was in November, the other was in October. But the point was, we celebrated their birthdays early in October because we couldn't wait till Halloween because it got. I mean, we've had some cold Halloween.
cold Halloween.
These little trick-or-treaters are out there, and they freeze their patooties off because it gets cold during Halloween, so they usually have to have stuff underneath their
Costumes.
Yeah, their costumes in order to stay warm. A lot of kids, they don't even want to trick-or-treat because it gets so cold out
Right.
there. But, the kids that brave and go out and holler. And of course, you know, there's a lot of adults. Of course, they have adult beverages that keep them warm, so it's not quite as hard. But hopefully, we'll have some good turnout. And this next weekend when we have the Halloween kids out, you know, collecting candy and that kind of stuff. You know, it's early enough in the month of October that you're not going to have that. And they do it for the same reason. They do it earlier in October rather than waiting till Halloween, because traditionally it does get very cold. Yeah. Anyway, and we will be streaming the Holodazzle Parade here from the Murphy. We'll be up on the second floor streaming from the windows up there. Hopefully, because we are progressing on finishing the sound system on Main Street. We're replacing the speakers and going to reconnect that system. We've got most of the wire replaced because it deteriorates over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And that wire had been up there over a decade. And it was starting to disintegrate because, you know, you get ultraviolet rays, you get cold and heat. And then, you know, when you send
all the condensation and everything builds up inside.
Exactly. So we have 7 speakers that we'll be having across from one end of the block to Rome Jewelers, and then we actually will be we have the wire runs from behind the marquee into that first suite that faces the street, and then ours is on the other side of the hallway upstairs, and so it runs over into our suite. And we'll connect to the amplifier, and we have a similar automation system to play music and commercials and that kind of stuff that we use at WZAA up in Fayette County, where we have our radio station. And now the music, we still haven't decided what kind of music we're going to play, but we are anticipating operating the system from 8 o'clock in the morning to at least 8 o'clock at night. Trevor has said, well, we could probably operate it till 9. Legally, we could probably operate it till 10 because that's the city ordinances. But I don't want to push it. And there are people that live above these buildings here on Main Street where they'd be on the opposite side of the speakers. And for the most part, the way the speakers are mounted, the speakers are still on the lower level, so they would be above the speakers. But when it gets to be winter, the air is crisper, the sound travels further.
Yes.
And it's not that we don't want people to hear the music and that kind of stuff, but we don't want to keep people awake, and we don't want people complaining if it's too loud. So we have to sort of walk that tightrope.
The fine line.
That's right, and provide the music and the entertainment, and also we're going to give our merchants the ability to advertise. And so when people are strolling downtown or they're here for the Holodazzle Parade, the Christmas music will be playing, and we can use it in the future for other reasons. And we've got other stuff that we're working on, to bring people downtown more. That's part of, our job, so to speak. And Dean, hello there. How are you? Dean
Is that
Thompson.
Dean?
Yeah, Dean Thompson is watching. That's Dean Dean the Bean. And Dean.
How long has it been since you've talked to Dean, Rick?
Oh, well, a week.
A week?
Dean actually calls me a couple times a week just to say hi. But Dean was one of our cameramen.
Yeah.
And used to do our Campus Nation broadcast with us.
Yeah.
He hasn't, I don't know, probably for the last year. But
Has he been sick?
Well, on and off, he's been sick, and it doesn't work for him very well. And of course, Dean doesn't drive, so we have to coordinate everything to be able to pick him up,
to get
him home, and that complicates things. And many times, where we're going away to a school or whatever, it further and Dean's a great cameraman. He's
really good, yeah.
And it's interesting because Dean's father used to be our cameraman, and then when he retired, Dean took over the camera duties, and his brother has wanted us to teach him to run camera. It's like a family profession, doing camera for Campus Nation.
Yeah.
But so many of the stuff that we do, especially at Wilmington College, they provide the camera people. So as an example, This past Saturday, when we did Wilmington College and Mount Union, we had a camera in the press box, which I operate, and then we had a camera on the field, and there was one of their female interns was on the field operating that camera, and so we don't really need camera people, and it's like with Joe having to do his tournament volleyball, and Bill Learman, he had to work that Saturday because one of the guys was sick. I had to have them supply us with the announcers, but there's some benefits to that. Sometimes you run into some pretty good kids that can really pick up, the slack and do it, and they did a phenomenal job. And under the stress of a 59-0 loss, and still kept it lively and entertaining, and because it's like doing this show. Sometimes you're just at a loss of what do we say next? What do we do next? You got to keep it moving, and they did. So I got to give them a lot of credit. I would use them on other projects. So anyway, and we are going to
diamond in the rough.
Yeah, and we are going to do the Wilmington College Sports Show once we figure out where we're going to do it. So when we do that,
What about getting like maybe interviewing players and stuff like that, coaches and stuff?
that's what we're going to do. And Wilmington College will bring their coaches, their players, and it's for us. It's probably down to 3 places. B-Dubs would be a potential.
That would be awesome.
It would be Fiesta Veracruz, and the great thing about Fiesta Veracruz is they're very active in the community, and they do a lot of fundraisers. They do it for the Murphy. They do it for Wilmington College.
Well, they'll feed us too, won't they?
In some cases, they do.
Yeah.
It depends on what we end up. The final.
Final.
Yeah. Sometimes we do it for food and money. Sometimes we do it for money. Sometimes we do it for food. It just depends on what the final negotiation and
what you can come to terms with.
Yeah, Victor is very proactive in advertising. A lot of places will, and I don't know about El Dorado, how open they will be, but they're going to be opening this new American.
Where's the El Dorado's at?
El Dorado is down on the other end of town towards next to the Kettering Hospital building.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah.
And so El Dorado's there. They have another location, same ownership, up in Washington Courthouse, which makes it good for us because, but we've not really had a lot of success with, for instance, looking at the other wing place in town. So they've not really had any interest in advertising or promotion. Some places will advertise, some places don't.
Right.
And although I prefer their wings and I prefer their food, and they're a lot more reasonable than B-Dubs, and that's not putting B-Dubs down. It's a fact.
Yeah, the way it is.
So you've got B-Dubs. Their marketing guy, head marketing guy's name's Rick. Met him on many occasions, and they've always promised us, we're going to do something with you. We're going to do, and then when it gets down to the nitty gritty, they say, well, we're not going to do it this year. And they've done that to us like 3 or 4 years in a row. So after a while, you feel snake bit. So we've worked with Victor over at Fiesta Veracruz on many occasions. Victor's a good guy, and we've never done anything with El Dorado. But we used to do, there was a Wilmington College professor that owned the restaurant prior to this new burger joint that's opening where Crystal's is going to be. And it was he had went in there and remodeled. It was really nice.
Austin something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I think that he just was not really a management type of guy.
Have you ever ate at the Blackbird, the new...
I've eaten there, and that now we're beginning to start to see these mega ownership situations where you've got Blackbird, and you've got the General Denver, and you've got the Capricorn, and you've got the Route 73 Grill, all owned by the same group, same guy. I think his name is Rick. I think it's Rick.
It's a man and a woman, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, I think he's got a second in command or whatever. But anyway, I've talked with him. Nice guy. And I think that I have been told that he would have an interest in advertising with us as far as sports. I don't know, once again, it comes down to a negotiation. but a lot of places would welcome a sports show. We did the sports show at Victor's, Fiesta Veracruz, and we had some big crowds that would come in there. We did the sports show at Damon's when Damon's was here,
we had a big
and
crowd.
we had big crowds there come in for the sports show. So we draw, and part of it is whatever teams you're bringing in, but we wouldn't have to do just Wilmington College. We could bring in high schools, and we've had high school sports shows before. Obviously, we have a lot of popular high school sports, going on in the area. But the reason that we're looking at a Wilmington College sports show is so that it has its own show. And there are so many athletes that we don't get to feature from Wilmington College. They've got good soccer teams. Their soccer teams have won, like, both the girls and the guys, the women and the men have won 4 or 5 in a row. They've been quite successful this campaign.
That would be cool to have a show where you interview players.
And that's the idea. Bring in the coaches and the players.
Yeah.
Sit them at a table.
Get to know
I have
them.
an 8 microphone setup upstairs that I could bring to that show, so we could have 8 people sitting. Victor's got a round table over there that would seat 6, 8 people. You bring them, you put them around the table, and you ask
Talk to
questions.
'em.
That's right, and that's
Get to know them.
That's basically
how they
what
play,
we do.
like
But
what they see.
it's just like even at the high school level. How often do you see bowlers on a sports? Because you don't usually do a bowling tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe a tournament you might, but or a cross country. We've got some fantastic athletes when it comes to cross country and track at Wilmington College. But we've done, not lately, but we did high school and college swimming there at Wilmington College. And so, we have done a lot of different unusual sports. This past year, we cracked the harness racing barrier.
Fairgrounds,
We
yeah.
were at the fairgrounds doing harness racing, and it got big viewership. But, there are some niche sports. Another one is wrestling. People don't realize just how people really like wrestling.
Oh yeah, the year we're doing like we did last year at the Murphy had the
on
wrestlers
stage. On stage. Yeah. So we've got, and this part of the state, we have so many talented athletes, and we've had so many great teams, and we've been fortunate, whether it's Massey or Wilmington or Blanchester, we've had some great athletes that have played at these high schools here in the area, and a lot of them we've never even had on a Campus Nation broadcast. Right. I can remember some of the broadcasts that Campus Nation did. We did a broadcast from Wilmington High School, and I forget the school that came in, but it was like a Fairfield or something like that. And we did a broadcast from Wilmington High School of this softball game. The girl that was pitching was a fantastic pitcher. Her father was like overseas. He got, for the first time, to watch her on one of our broadcasts, live on our broadcasts, and he was on the other side of the world watching, at night, and his daughter, who he'd never seen pitched, against Wilmington in a game. And we've had instances where we've had some, I don't know whether it was Croatia, it was some little village in like a Croatia where Wilmington had a basketball player on the good, going to the Final Four, and they would watch his basketball games on Campus Nation, and they'd all gather around in his parents' house, and so the whole village would come into the parents' house and watch the game, and so we've had some interesting things. Sports, and Vicky, of course, she was saying yawn, but sports brings everybody together. Male, female, young, old. That's one of the commonalities that brings a lot of people together as far as broadcasts.
Yes.
And we will continue to work on what we're doing here on Wake Up Wilmington, anticipating when we launch Wake Up Washington Courthouse, and we'll be able to have 2 great programs operating simultaneously. You'll be able to go back and forth or watch the other one after it. And some of them there will be simulcasts where we literally will have people that we interview on both shows at the same time. We're going to have a news and weather and sports part of the show with maybe a real person upstairs standing in front of the green screen with the weather
With the
map behind
graphics.
them. Yeah, and be able to do that. So we're going to be doing all kinds of new stuff.
Sounds fun.
Down the road.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun. And you know, with fiber, all is possible. With this software that we've got with fiber, we can be bringing people. If you've got a decent connection at home and you've got a webcam, we can actually bring you onto the show live. And you've seen those people that
That
get
would be cool.
like on CNN where they get interviewed, one's in one box,
Yep.
and the interviewees in
At the bottom right-hand corner on the other
and
box.
we can do the same kind of thing where we can put two boxes on the screen and be able to have the person doing the interviewing and the person interviewing, and we can bring them in from anywhere, so it doesn't matter where they are. But anyway, all right. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour again, the 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah, the
and it
witching hour.
looks like we've got one microphone that's live. The others, yeah.
The others have bit the bullet.
Yeah, so, and I don't know how much it's going to pick up straight up in the air like that. It might be, got to bend it over a
A
little.
little bit.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we go.
Anyway, and you can have one of mine. But we've got, we're in the last minute, so any last comments, guys?
Hey, just enjoy this beautiful weather.
That's right. Get out there. We're going to have a good meeting, hopefully this afternoon. I'll have a meeting with Dustin and Molly, and we'll get some new things, some additional things that we're going to be
Rocking
doing.
and rolling.
That's right. So that we'll be bringing you even new and more exciting things. on the Wake Up Show. So, night, everybody.